This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Please be aware I am not a medical expert, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Explore, Love podcast. I'm Ashley. This podcast is based off of my blog of the same name, Eat, Explore, Love. It talks about the unique challenges in traveling around the world when you have celiac disease. Due to sort of popular demand, I decided to also record a podcast to delve a little deeper into my travels and the lessons learned along the way. Hi, everyone. We have a very special episode of Eat, Explore, Love, the podcast. This week, I'm going to be talking about every day on the Celiac Cruise Greek Isles edition. Earlier this month, actually right now, as I'm recording this, you guys are able to see the podcast for the regular Celiac Cruise that I did on the Danube for Oktoberfest with my sister Brittany. And as those posts are going up, I'm going to be recording the podcast that you're currently listening to for Greek Isles. So I am only on day 2 of the cruise, day 3 of the trip, and so far so good. And I'm going to basically at the end of every day record what that day was like of the trip, any suggestions that I have, any initial thoughts, and hopefully this won't be a 100-year-long podcast. That's what editing is for, and I hope it's helpful and something new and different to make this a little bit more interesting of what trips are like in real time. So anyway, hope this is good for everybody, and I can't wait to hear everybody's feedback of how this goes. Let's get started. Day 1 of our trip. We have not gotten on the cruise ship yet, so I guess we'll call today day 0. We got very delayed on our flight we left from Ohio. Long reason why, but we ended up having to leave from there. We had to get a connection in Detroit, which, by the way, lovely airport. And I went to P.F. Chang's where they have gluten-free options on their menu. And no, it is not a given for P.F. Chang's to have gluten-free options everywhere you go. So make sure you ask. But in Detroit, in the terminal we were in, which I believe was Terminal A, we had P.F. Chang's. And we're able to grab something to eat, which was great because ended up being 4 hours delayed by the time we took off. I got to sit in business class, you guys. It was the first time I ever did that, and it was so incredibly special. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do international travel and economy ever again. It was the first time I was able to sleep on a flight. They weren't as great. I flew via Delta, and they weren't as great about gluten-free food as they have been in the past, meaning they didn't give me any dessert, and usually I always get a gluten-free dessert. But the meal was good. It filled me up. It did the purpose of what it was supposed to do, and then I was able to go to sleep. Really amazing. It was worth the added expense, I have to say, and I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. When we landed in Rome for this cruise, that's where Civitavecchia is the port city, but the closest airport is Rome. So we went and visited that city, and I spent a month studying abroad in Rome. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give the best tourist advice based on this trip. If you want more details, you could always reach out to me at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. But for this trip, we did something interesting. It was very hot, so we had to be careful on how much we were walking and making sure we didn't get heat stroke or something like that, especially because we were exhausted. So We ate at a place called Pizza and Trevi. It's literally right there at the Trevi Fountain. And then right next door is a 100% gluten-free gelato shop, which was amazing. I had Snickers flavor. So I had at Pizza in Trevi, I had the lasagna there, and it's an AIC approved restaurant. We talked about AIC a bunch on this podcast and on the blog, but it was incredible. And they do a really cool thing where they change out the placemat for the person that is gluten-free, which allows the wait staff to know that you have celiac or that you have a gluten allergy and to be careful and be very aware in serving, you. My aunt, it does not have to be gluten-free, and she had carbonara, and she said that the food on her end was really good as well. So definitely recommend Pizza and Trevi, and then go next door and get a 100% gluten-free gelato. Really fantastic. Again, it's right next to Trevi Fountain. If you're looking at Trevi Fountain, you turn around where your back is to Trevi Fountain. It'll be around the corner on the left side. Then we went to, a little later after we checked into our hotel, we went back to Trevi Fountain and went underneath Trevi Fountain for Vicus Caprarius. Just be aware if you're going to go there. It's basically a residential area of ancient Rome that they found underneath the Trevi Fountain. And really cool, like from medieval times, that you're able to see. So that was really cool. It was only €4, and you have to make a reservation, especially on Saturday and Sunday ahead of time. Really easy to do. Just make sure you have WhatsApp and make that reservation. You pay when you arrive. You do not have to pay ahead of time. We actually missed the initial reservation because our flight got in so much later than anticipated. And they were incredibly accommodating and willing to work with us and make sure that we still got in to go later on in the day. We then went and had dinner at some Chimera Quattro. So I guess to the American eye, it'd be Samara or Chimera. Or again, if you want to check out the spelling, feel free to check out the blog at hieatexplorelove.com. And then we just passed out. It was too much traveling. We hadn't really slept. I slept a little bit on the plane, but I think I got maybe a total of an hour's sleep over the 8.5-hour flight. And that was pretty much it for day 0 or day 1, however you want to look at it. And that was our time in Rome. Looking forward to seeing how it goes tomorrow on the cruise. Okay, so day 1 of the cruise. We spent the morning in Rome. We actually went to Trevi Fountain at 6:52 a.m. because everybody said go before 7 a.m. It's the best time to go. No one's there. That wasn't true. There were a lot of people there, and the crowd was definitely starting to form by the time we left at 7, but still way better than midday on a Saturday in the middle of the summer. So, and you're able to get close up and take photos a little bit more close up, but it's still a bit crowded at 6:52 a.m. on a Sunday. So we did that, and then we went to La Lacata. It's not an AIC approved restaurant, but it does serve gluten-free stuff, and it has basically a set menu for gluten-free people. And it was delicious, probably a little too much for me. My body has issues adjusting because I have other conditions, medical conditions, so it makes it hard for me to eat a ton. But from what I did eat, it was really good. My aunt, again, had a croissant or a pastry with Nutella inside, and it was not gluten-free. So if you have people with you that don't eat gluten-free, it is also a good place for you to eat with them, where they can have all the gluten they want and you can be safe and be gluten-free. We then went and got a cab to the boat, to the port, Civitavecchia, I believe is how you say it. We got there, and I'm glad that we did that as opposed to any other type of transportation. The guy was very nice and pulled us right up to where we would have to enter the building. I've never done an ocean cruise before. I've only done the one river cruise with Celiac Cruises on Ama Waterways, and that was really... So this is a really different and interesting experience with onboarding. It was a little bit more chaotic and crazy, but got through, and it was a really fun time. If anyone wants to know the details of boarding a boat, please feel free to reach out. Again, like I'll keep saying it on this podcast, hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. But then we continued on our way, and we had the welcome aboard lunch. on the Celiac Cruise, they had one dining room that was dedicated to everybody on the Celiac Cruise. And if you did not have the Celiac Cruise wristband or did not have the Celiac Cruise ticket for the lunch, you were not permitted to go into the dining room, which was really nice. It kept it nice and safe for all of us that had to deal with making sure that we were safe and didn't have to worry about cross-contamination or any of that stuff. After that, we did a quick video of the safety briefing. We went and finished off the safety briefing on the boat, and then we went back with Celiac Cruises and checked in. We were finally able to, by this point it was 2 p.m. and we were able to go to our rooms and get the room key and see inside. They did not drop off our baggage until our luggage, because you drop it off right when you enter and are boarding the boat. They give you a special tag, and once you get onto the boat, they just take your big pieces of luggage, but make sure that you bring on a little carry-on backpack with all the things like a bathing suit and a cover-up and whatever you need to walk around the boat and feel comfortable. And your medication probably too. But I'm not an official spokesperson for any cruise line. This is just the recommendations that I came across. So that was really fun. The food for the welcome aboard lunch was buffet style. It was really good. Sorry to backtrack there, but it was really good and really amazing. So I normally would have also, in my backpack of where I carried on the boat, packed a bunch of snacks. Didn't have to do that because of Celiac Cruises. So that was awesome. And I also liked the buffet in that I got to control my portion size. Like I said before, when I travel, my body has a hard time adjusting, so it's a little bit complicated, and I got to make sure I didn't overburden myself. They then set up a special place where we had the sail away party in a different part of the boat for the Celiac Cruise folks, and they were very aware. The entire staff has been trained and knew that if we had our Celiac Cruise tags and stuff, they knew to make sure we had gluten-free stuff. So that was really lovely. I also did learn to play the casino. I went to the spa. That was really awesome. And we got to get consultations at the spa, and it was just really fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot. Then we had dinner where the dress code for today was casual. And we got to enjoy that. That was more of half buffet style, but also half sit down, where we put in the order for the main course, but the appetizer and desserts, we went up and got buffet style. It was really delicious. I had wild mushroom soup. I never get to get soup. And I got to have portobello mushroom with rice, which is really awesome, and cheesecake, which is really yummy. So awesome 10 out of 10 experience at the lunch. My aunt also had the gluten-free filet mignon set up that they had, and they had a bunch of other options as well for the entrees. It was really good. And we also, during the day, got to be poolside. Then later on, they had a special get-together for everybody 21 and over for the Celiac Cruise, and we got to see a different bar on the ship than we had for the sail-away party. Again, same thing. It was near the arcade, so that was a lot of fun. And my aunt and I got to play all sorts of games. And then we went back. They had late night snacks in our dining hall for us to eat. It was so scrumptious, and I loved it so much. So that was day 1. No excursions. Looking forward to day 2, where I get to just be on the boat all day long and relax and get settled in and understand life on a boat. And then we're going to go from there and take this one day at a time, folks. So can't wait to talk about day 2. Okay, so day 2 was a little cool, calm, and collected because we were on cruising day, which means we never left the boat. We were just sailing away. For breakfast, we had buffet style, and there's a lot of pictures of that on the blog, which I hope everyone goes and checks out at hieatexplorelove.com. And then I went and booked an appointment way ahead of time, which I recommend to everybody to do, which once you book your cruise, try and book as much of the spa stuff and your excursions right then and there, because A, it's cheaper, and it's not going to get sold out, because a lot of people didn't even know that there was a spa on the boat until they showed up on the boat. And then it was either too late to make an appointment, or it was really inconvenient times that were available, and it was way more expensive. So if you've never done a cruise before, definitely recommend doing that and really setting up the schedule for cruising days so that way you're as busy as possible. I am experiencing some I don't want to say motion sickness or seasickness, but disorientation. And me keeping myself moving and active throughout the day on the boat has been incredibly helpful. So I did a fire and ice pedicure. And then we did, for the Celiac Cruise, they had a wonderful coffee and convo hour where everybody it was kind of like a support group for everybody that had celiac and was the support system for someone with celiac. Afterward, we did what's called a taste of royal. It's like the chef's table for cruises where you get to have really fancy 5-course meal and you sample things from all the restaurants from on the boat. For me, it was not my favorite stuff. It was like tartar and things like that, just stuff I'm not really into. I don't know that I would ever do that again because we did have to pay extra, and we did it because the donations were going to celiac research and such. So that's why we did that. Then I hung out at the pool, which was not really fun because I couldn't get a seat by the pool. It was too late in the day. The only place where you could get a lounge chair was where the seats were in the shade. No sun was hitting it at all. So it was nice because there was a breeze, but it was also, I was hoping for some tan, guys, and it didn't happen. Then I did a line dance class, which was really fun. And then we had formal night for dinner, which was awesome. They had a 21 and over event, which was great later on in the night, followed by late night snacks, which were absolutely delicious and amazing. The 21 and over was fun. We got to go to a bar on the boat and experience some other and different places other than the one main dining hall that we had, which was dedicated gluten-free. So it was nice to be able to experience and see other places on the boat. And the entire staff has been trained, you can tell, in how everybody's reacting. So, and the snacks were so good. Can't wait for Mexican food. They have gluten-free churros, which I'm so excited for. But that was day 2, and hope you enjoyed hearing about that. On to day 3. Day 3 was our first day of doing excursions, and that was a lot of fun. I got to do breakfast, did lunch, picked up a to-go lunch, which the Celiac Cruise coordinated with each and every port, because you're not really supposed to be bringing food off the boat into wherever you're going to, but they negotiated on our behalf since, everybody with celiac wouldn't be guaranteed they would be able to get food in the ports. I did an excursion called Spirits of Santorini, and it was essentially going around the island of Santorini and also getting to do a wine and beer tasting, which I obviously did not take part in, but my aunt did, and had a really awesome time. Then went back to the boat, had dinner, and then we had our late night snacks. So it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed Santorini. I was underwhelmed. It's my first time ever being in Greece, but people warned me and told me that I'd probably be underwhelmed by Santorini. So looking forward to tomorrow with Ephesus. Geez Louise, Ephesus was a crazy day. So lucky that we had a little bit of a breeze because it was so hot. So first thing in the morning, we went, obviously got breakfast. Then we did our tour to ancient Ephesus. I had a much better experience in the country of Turkey this time around than I did last time. I actually really enjoyed Ephesus over Pompeii. So because just more was built up, they found more. The thing that we didn't get to do is go inside the museum, which is within the ancient Ephesus. You have to pay extra for that, and it's like 500 something steps to experience the museum, where you see more details of the residential, the wealthier residential parts of ancient Ephesus. So I didn't get to see that, but I spent an hour and a half there, and that was just enough for me. And it was incredibly interesting and intriguing, and I loved getting to see all the dogs and the cats walking around because obviously Turkey, that's what they're known for. We did not make it back for lunch in time because we went to a carpet weaving demonstration, which again, Turkey is known for their rugs, and that every single one is custom made and handmade and all that fun stuff. And that was really cool and beautiful. And we got to have Turkish tea, which I love Turkish tea. And then we went back to the boat and just missed having lunch, which was okay because they also provided for that day a to-go lunch. I then took a tropical dance class on the boat, which was not my thing. It required a lot of sexiness. And I got a really nice massage. And I think the massage therapist that I had, shout out to Jen, she is also a physical therapist in the Philippines. And she said when I went through my pain symptoms, she's like, I know exactly what's wrong with you. And I've been in pain, guys, for 20 years. And I wish I was exaggerating. And she gave me solutions that other people have never offered before. Most doctors will tell me it's in my head, and she said, no, this is what we're going to tell the doctors, and they're going to give you a diagnosis and yada yada. So that was amazing. And then we did some trivia nights at some of the bars and the boats, and then had some late night snacks. So that was awesome. It is day 5 of the cruise, and I did the Mykonos exploration with Farmhouse with wine tastings, which not great if you have celiac. The food that they provided was not gluten-free, and this boat, I don't remember if I clarified this before, but the last Celiac Cruise I went on, the entire boat was gluten-free. This time only a portion of it is gluten-free, so the excursions, there's no responsibility for them to make sure that the excursions are also completely gluten-free. And I just was starting to feel not well, so I took Dayquil and couldn't do the wine. But I liked Mykonos as a city in Greece, or as an island in Greece, more than I enjoyed Santorini. But the tour guide didn't really give much information. So I think if you're wanting to go for beaches and just more of the Greece that you expect and, love from photos and such, Mykonos seems to be the much better port. So I did that in the morning. Then we did some trivia quizzes throughout the afternoon, had 21 and over drinks and late night snacks, and celebrated a little bit of 4th of July. So it's quite incredible. Really enjoyed myself. And that was my day at Mykonos. Okay, the last few days of the cruise became a little bit chaotic, and I got a bit of a cold and got really seasick. So I'm just going to do day 6 and 7 all in one shot. Day 6, we did an all-access ship tour, which I only made it through the first section of it because we went into the bridge of the boat and got to see where the captain and everybody is looking out and steering the ship and whatnot. And the waters were a little bit more rough that day than they had been in the days previously. And there was way more rocking in that part of the boat than there was anywhere else. And once I get a certain level of nausea, it becomes I need to lie down. So I had to leave after the first portion of the boat. My aunt went to the rest of it and she loved it and said it was really, really cool. I missed out on all the activities I wanted to do that day because I just needed to go lie down and reset myself. But we did a lot of trivia that night, and it was amazing and so much fun. And we did some 21 and over events with the Celiac Cruise, which is really amazing, and just really, really fortunate that was the way. It all planned out, that the social events I really got to do. I missed the 70s disco dance class, but that's okay. Then on day 7, we went to Capri. And our plan with Capri was that we were going to go in the morning, get custom-made sandals, which you could do in Capri. And then for lunchtime, we were going to go back to the boat and then go back if we felt like it for the afternoon and just wander around. When we started our excursion, we then realized we were not allowed to go back to the boat until the 4:30 ferry. So we got there at about 10 a.m. and we weren't allowed to go back until 4:30. And we were like, oh boy, here we go. And this is where we were starting to not feel too great because we had gotten our colds. So we were like, oh, can we handle the heat or whatever? But we followed our tour guide, Fabrizio, and he was amazing. And we spent an hour in Capri. Then we spent a few hours in the midsection of Capri.
and then we went to the bottom. So we got our custom-made sandals in the beginning, and we did the chairs where you go and it's like a trolley, and you go up and go to the very, very top of the island, and then you see the view of everything, which is the most beautiful view ever. Then we came back down. We went to the next level, to the medium level. We ate lunch, did some shopping, and then the bottom level is where we kind of just wandered around. Fabrizio tried to even get us on an earlier ferry because we were like, all right, we've seen all that we have to see. But it ended up working out really nicely with the pace of everything and ended up taking the entire day. So I wish we knew it to begin with the day, that we were going to basically be essentially, quote unquote, trapped on the island the whole day. But it was worth it, and it was really amazing. The thing that we didn't get to do was the Blue Grotto. Fabrizio told us it is a really amazing thing to do. I've done it before when I went to my study abroad program in Italy in college, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. But because it's based on the tide, you're not always guaranteed in being able to see it. So because the tides were too high the entire week, the line was really, really long the day that we went because it was the first time everybody was able to go and do it. So my aunt didn't want to go and do that anyways, and I've already seen it. So that was fine, but we got to do everything else that we wanted to really do that made Capri what it is. So that was incredible. And then we called it a night that day. We had a lot of packing to do, and but we enjoyed the last bit of the cruise and then had breakfast the next morning and went off the boat and took a very long flight back. And it was, for me, a full 24-hour travel day where I didn't sleep. So obviously that doesn't help it when you have a cold. You need that to get better. But now I'm back, and I'm really appreciative of that trip and all that I had to get and offer of that time. So this was my week at Celiac Cruise Greek Isles. I hope you enjoyed this different way of me recording this episode. Would love to hear everybody's feedback. I just want to say thank you to my aunt for all that she did in making sure that this trip was absolutely special. It came very close to not happening. I also want to say a thank you to all the friends that we made and that were very kind to us, and we had our snacks and all this other great stuff together, and it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people expressed interest in the blog and the podcast and kept me motivated to keep this going, even though the traveling is slowing down for me quite a bit. But, just incredible. I also want to thank Connie, Maureen, and Kathleen for all that they did to put this together. Kathleen for answering all our emails, Connie through her travel agency and making sure that we're able to have the best experience ever, and Maureen, of course, for coming up with the idea for Celiac Cruises in the first place. I spoke with her and told her that I would talk about Celiac Cruises on my podcast and my blog, and if there's anything that she wanted me to say. And she said that the personal story has been gets left out and forgotten about in the process. And this all started because Maureen's son was diagnosed with celiac, and she wanted to make sure that they still had a way to enjoy going on cruises the way that they always had. And from this, 2 years later, so many cruises, whatever, they are booming, and they have a bunch of cruises already lined up for next year, which everybody can go check out. And I'm hoping to have Maureen on the podcast to talk about Celiac Cruises. That way, if anybody has any questions or concerns, they can. I thought this was a particularly beautiful experience. I think the main difference is with these ocean cruises, it's nice because it could be a true family affair. The person with celiac could go sign up through Celiac Cruises, and if the rest of the family does not have celiac, they can go sign up at the other part of the cruise and part of the ship, and they could all be together and have an amazing time. And the river cruises are probably much more my speed. They're much more relaxed. There's not as much to do on the boat. You could just sit and relax and read a book, which I could do on the other boat, but there was just too much stimulating me to keep me going. And there was always an activity to go to and express. I think it was much more for a younger group of people, and I'm an old lady inside. So that made it... So I think, and also the seasickness for me, or motion sickness, I didn't feel it at all on the river cruise, but felt it a lot more on the ocean cruise. So I think from now on, that's something that I have to consider. But also, river cruises are much more expensive. They're a luxury experience, whereas the ocean cruises are more the everyday person can afford to go and experience and enjoy, and it's everything reflects that. So I just think it was either way, both ways, a really magical experience and a really wonderful opportunity. And it's all because of the folks at Celiac Cruises. They are amazing, and I can't wait to go on more in the future. And I hope this inspires others to feel like they can go too. And I would go on an ocean cruise again if it meant going on a cruise with my friends, where we found one of the cruises that everybody would be interested in, and my friends can sign up for the quote-unquote regular part of the cruise ship, and I could do the celiac part of the cruise ship and just have a really fantastic time. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for all of this. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I would love to hear your feedback on the way I recorded this. If you guys have any more questions on the Celiac Cruises and how they work, or if you have any questions about traveling with celiac, as always, feel free to reach out to hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Till next time.
Thank you for joining me this week for all the fun journeys and lessons learned on my big adventure called life. For more information on the different cities discussed, check out the blog posts on hieatexplorelove.com, posted every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Until next week, remember to eat well, explore the world, and love yourself. See you next time. This episode is produced, scripted, and edited by me, Ashley. Special thanks to Sarah Mientka.